Hey friends, welcome to the Creative Crew. My name is Brad Hussey, and today we have a special guest. His name is Cian Sullivan. He is an Irishman and lives in New Zealand. He started out as a surf instructor. Pandemic happened. You know how that rolls. So he needed to find a new way and ultimately found himself into freelancing and building websites for clients. That blew up, and now he's doing it full time, running a wonderfully successful agency called Navco.Agency. So without further ado, let's jump right into today's interview and see what Cian has to share with us. Let's go. Thanks, Cian, for coming on the show and waking up nice and early to join us. I really appreciate it. Excited to talk to you today about your business, what you're up to, and see what sort of insights we'll be able to extract from you so that our crew members can apply it to their own situations. So thanks for coming. And why don't you take a few minutes here just to intro yourself, let us know your story, your background, just kind of take the mic for a bit.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. So my name is Cian. I'm originally from Ireland, and I now live full time in New Zealand, in a beautiful part of New Zealand called Tutukaka, which is it's pretty rural, not kind of the place you'd expect to have a digital agency. Pretty much from when I was like 9, 10 years old, was building little Wix websites for just little school projects, and through university did a little bit of web design here and there. Yeah, I never really kind of saw it as a career path. And I actually, when I moved to New Zealand, I originally moved as a surf instructor. So I was working full time as a surf coach, which I loved. And all of a sudden, this thing called COVID came along, and I couldn't surf coach. And so what I actually have done is I have another business, and we distribute surf products around New Zealand, and I set up all the online stuff like the website and the online stores for that business. And it turned out that I actually kind of knew what I was doing, and I was pretty good at it. And COVID hit. I couldn't surf coach. My back was up against the wall, and my partner, she has a beauty business, so her business had to close as well. And we were like, what are we going to do? We've got rent to pay, and we've got to eat. So we decided we'll get her business online. We'll create a website on EditorX and create an online store, and we'll start selling your products that you have in store. And we'll drop them into people's mailbox around the locality. And so I built her website, and she had a couple of sales and made a bit of money. And she said to me, "Why is it that you don't do this?" And that's kind of where it started, very organically. And so I created her website and then set up a little website for myself. And it was honestly, it was a total experiment. It was, this whole thing to this point has been just a complete experiment. And it started off as just a pure side hustle, and picked up 1 or 2 contracts here and there, and then just evolved it very, very organically from that point. And it's gotten to the point now where it's my full-time job, and I've got a couple of crew that work for me, and it's been awesome.
That's so cool. And hey, some of the best business ideas or things that you don't even, some of the most important life decisions happen when you don't even realize that it's happening to you. There's a phrase or the saying, there's life is what happens when you're busy making plans. Yeah. So you're making plans, being a surf instructor, you live in this life out in New Zealand, and then all of a sudden COVID happens, and then you're like, I don't know what to do. Well, we'll just figure things out as we go, but I got this plan here. But really what happened was this direction. And then that, when you look in hindsight, you go, hey, that's better than I could have planned, when you kind of almost surrender to what happens. And so when did you, couple questions, what made you decide with EditorX?
I can remember the beta came out, and I went, this looks really, really cool. And I just wanted to play with it. And this is pre-COVID. And I applied for the beta. I was just always really interested in it, even before it was like a professional pathway for me. I was just really interested in it. So I suppose that's what's quite good now, is I have this innate sort of passion for it that I, before I was even a professional, I just wanted to be designing things. Mm-hmm. I had to play with the beta, and I pulled my hair out for about 2 weeks while trying to figure out how to use it. and then gave up. And then COVID kind of gave me with Lizzie's website, my partner. It gave me 2 weeks to kind of 3 weeks to really kind of sit down and just I'm going to figure this thing out. And built her site, and it wasn't perfect, but it was pretty it was responsive and working. And then from there was just figuring it out, with clients and getting better and better every single time. So I kind of knew the Wix platform pretty well, and then I knew responsive design was sellable. So that's why Editor X kind of fell into my lap. I think I noticed that the value that I can provide in Editor X is more than just using the classic editor, because it's less DIY and more agency level of an editor.
When you started to realize, okay, I'm pretty good at this, and you were told by your partner, you're good at this, you should be doing this more seriously, how did you get your first client? What was that?
I suppose I always refer to myself as lucky. And maybe it's an Irish thing, like the luck of the Irish.
The luck of the Irish, right?
I think the other important thing, there's luck, but then there's also, in life, opportunity comes along, and opportunity isn't this thing that arrives at your doorstep with fireworks and loud noise and says, I'm here, take me. I think throughout your life, and I've noticed this in starting this career on my doing my own thing, it's very subtle, it's very quiet, and you've got to really pick it out from quite a big crowd, and so I got lucky, but I also identified the opportunity. And I landed this client really early on, and it was kind of as a result of COVID as well. It's a not-for-profit. They're a medical. They train a specific piece of medical for emergency doctors, and they needed to switch everything to online. They did lots of live events, and they needed to switch everything online to webinars. So their web presence needed to really kind of shoot up. And it was a local lady here who reached out to me, who I'd done 2 really small websites, like $300 websites for, just as a side hustle about a year prior to that. And she said, hey, would you like to come on board with the team and do our new website, and we'll try out like a 12-month contract with you. And I just went, yes, didn't even think about it. Didn't just said yes, signed the contract, give me the work, and I'll work out how I, figure this into my lifestyle. So that was my first client. So I got really lucky in that with that first client, I was doing about 40 hours a week working for them. Doing everything like EDMs and social media, their web design, developing the brand. And so there wasn't, because I was still in that side hustle phase, there wasn't this huge need for me to go and push really hard to get new clients. So anything that came on top of that was a bonus, because I was still in that phase where once New Zealand handled COVID really well, so I was able to go back to surf coaching. So I was kind of doing this in the evenings and in the mornings. So I didn't have this huge need to acquire lots of clients, because I was pretty fulfilled for the first 12 months with that one client, which was pretty lucky.
So then what do you do now, with the clients, the services you provide to the clients? I want to break down the model a little bit now, because you've got enough work, you've got lots of leads coming in. The Wix marketplace was throwing gas on the fire. And I want to know now, what services do you provide them?
Yep.
Is it one time? Do you do ongoing stuff on the back end of that for recurring revenue? What's your pricing look like? Kind of break down the nuts and bolts of the business model right now.
So the vast majority of our work still comes through the Wix marketplace. I'm really lucky. I haven't actually invested. So I've been doing this for 3 years now, and I haven't actually invested a penny in marketing this agency. And this year is the first year that I've actually thought about, okay, strategically, what are we doing? Because this is getting big now. And I'm like, okay, this isn't an experiment anymore. So the business model, most clients come through the Wix marketplace. The Wix marketplace can be difficult to navigate, because you get lots of leads that they go, oh, I've got $5. I want an e-commerce website. And you go, not happening, mate. But what I will say about it is you sort of have to zoom out with it And there are clients that come through. We get clients now, they see my profile and they've got really nice budgets, and I work with them, and that's great. Don't turn away the guys that come to you and say, oh, I've got $25 and I want a website. I email everyone back and I say, hey, I can't work with $25, but if you pay me $250 or $500, I'll build you a one-page landing page that's really, really good. It's going to take me an hour. And if I'm sitting there, the lead comes in, I might as well, play that card, right? If I'm sitting there for an hour and I can, do something that's going to make $500 or $250, I might as well do it. And then I've got another website on my account on Wix. I get another 5-star review, and it just bumps the marketplace up again and again and again. So you kind of have to just play the system. And that's what I mean by not turning anyone away, not, kind of confining yourself. But I know that is a good strategy that works well for some agencies. But for me, I'm just everyone and anyone, any haircut, any size, any shape, I'll work something out within, that's within a reasonable scope for your budget. Obviously, you do get people, they'll turn around and they'll go, oh, no, I don't want to pay $500 for one page or whatever like that. And that's fine. But you might as well roll the dice and see what you can get. Rather than just not even reply. Do you know what I mean? Because if you don't reply, you don't get anything. In terms of pricing, I use a value-based pricing system there. So it depends on the business, the client, right? I think pricing for most people it's like one of the hardest things to wrap your head around. Because you want to provide value for the client, but you also don't want to sting yourself and end up doing, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. So for me, it really comes down to, what's the value that I'm adding to this business? So for example, if there's a little local business up the road and it's an elderly couple, they've got this project, they make, jam and sell it to the locals out of their garden. I don't know, it's like a real Kiwi example. They come and they want a website, right? And it's just literally placeholder. They just want it there so that people know they sell jam, and they only sell 20 jars a week, right? Like the value that you're adding for that business, it's going to be a $1,000 project, it's going to be a $500 project. If you go any more, they'll probably find someone who's going to do it cheaper. But as you get better and better at RX, you can do those little projects really nice and fast, and your hour to work rate is really good. But then on the other side of that, like if I get, a big jam manufacturer in Auckland, say, the local city, who's distributing into all the major supermarkets, wants to set up a subscription service, wants to sell online, they've got a range of 20 different products, and they want to build this full e-commerce development. That website's worth so much more in terms of value for that company. You're gonna charge 25K for that build. So it really comes down to the pricing model. Really comes down to what's the value that we're providing to this company by doing this development. You don't know who's going to come back to you and go, oh, we want to upgrade our website, or oh, we'd like to, can you do some marketing for us, or we want to rebrand, whatever it is. So just say yes. That's my attitude. I suppose my business strategy is just say yes and talk to everyone.
Okay, so let's just say you say yes. What do you do now? How are you going to manage that many clients? How do you manage that all at once?
So in the early days, I used to go into full panic mode, and I'd be freaking out. I'm like, this is amazing, but I'm like, how the hell am I going to juggle 6 websites this month on top of doing, these updates for these other guys and still having a life myself? And I think now my attitude is just really just say yes, just do it and figure it out afterwards. And I actually had that conversation with a client yesterday who rang me up and he said, oh, I don't have my copy for my services page because I'm not sure what I'm offering. And I was like, just get it to 80%, just get it up there, just say yes, just put it up, and you can figure out the other 20% when you get there. So that's kind of generally what I tend to do, is I'd say yes to everyone that comes through, because inevitably what's going to happen is you're going to say yes to 4 extra clients on top of whatever you're already doing. One of them is going to be ready to go right away. The other one's going to take 2 weeks to make a decision, and then another 2 weeks to send you any content before they can go, and then another 2 weeks to pay their deposit, right? you might have one who stalls for a little while and then wants to do a call, and then they disappear. So what ends up happening, like even if you do 3 or 4 consultation calls in 1 week, it never is just like a bombardment. By pure default, they're all going to be at different stages, and some will be really fast at sending stuff through, some will be really slow, some will be slow at paying, some will be really fast. So it just all balances out anyway. So just keep saying yes.
I like that. It all comes back to that, it seems. And it's like you'll figure it out. And then that pressure forces you to learn from it for future scenarios where you go, you know what, I've been in this scenario before, and I found communicating with the client, finding out their timeline, not starting before I get a deposit for any sort of issues that may likely come up.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you'll figure it out. And when you do that, you don't repeat the same mistake again. You go, oh, I've learned this lesson before. Here's what I do in this scenario. Here's what I do in this scenario. That's very, I like that approach. It's a very elegant and also just like free, you know,
just embrace the chaos a little bit. I think is quite fun. But the other thing to remember, and I think people forget about this, and I used to particularly get quite stressed out and anxious when lots of clients were on board. But the other thing is to remember that this process is probably equally as stressful and as anxiety inducing for your clients as it is for you. So like most of the time when you say, hey, can we push this out like, another week or another 2 weeks, whatever, most of them are pretty happy because they're like, they relax, they go, okay, I wasn't ready to have that copy to you, or I didn't have this set up ready to go. So communicating clearly is really, really important.
Is there any like advice that you'd have for aspiring agency owners to help them navigate kind of the first year?
The first thing is that stress is inevitable, but the way that you manage that stress is not. So have clear boundaries with your clients. Do not text me at 4 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon. Like, do you know what I mean? So boundaries with clients, really important, because I used to just think, this person's paid me, I am at their feet, kissing their toes, until the project's complete. Not true. So that's really, really important. I think when you agency, you get more clients, there's more people demanding of you. Just manage those boundaries and manage that stress. Set it up so that there's as little stress as possible for you. The other thing is, don't wait for perfection to launch. If you want to go for the agency thing, I think lots of people, when they're setting up businesses or they're launching a new product or new services, they want to get it to 100% before they launch. Just get it to 80, get it to 70. And because inevitably, when you launch anything, you do something new, inevitably, it's going to change down the track because you're going to get better at it, right? And you're going to refine it, and so you might as well just bring it to 70 or 80%, because you're going to change that 20% anyway. Even if you bring it to what you think is 100%, you're going to change it again anyway. So just go for it. Say yes.
I love that. That's a great theme to this whole thing, is just like allowing yourself to say yes, jumping in, to use kind of to tie in. Maybe that's the adventurous spirit, that surf instructor in you, moving from Ireland to New Zealand, being a surf instructor. It's just like jumping in. You don't like kind of a little bit surf. Like you kind of have to commit. And I've surfed a little bit poorly. Very, very few areas that you can surf in Canada, which is basically one spot on the West Coast, I think. And you don't have kind of surf. You kind of have to just do it. Now, you don't go out into the big breaks. You start smaller, but you still have to get in the water and like get pummeled by the waves, so you don't kind of have test it. So, saying yes, jumping in, and being a little less timid, that's very wise. Do you have any future plans for Navco? I know you're going to be rebranding, so that's one future plan, but what do you plan on doing in terms of expanding? Do you plan on expanding, growing, scaling more, maintaining? What are you going to do?
Yeah, so the first stage is this rebrand, and just to really get a get a name that doesn't sound like it's a navigational company of some sort. And actually, there's strategy behind the new brand, and we have a name and stuff, and it's really exciting, and I'm really excited for it. So yeah, that's the big thing for the next couple of weeks. Also wanted to incorporate in that brand a little bit of the lifestyle, like of, because I consider myself a lifestyle entrepreneur. Like, this week I've had clients on board, but I've been surfing every day. I've been in the gym, been playing tennis. Like, so I want to kind of incorporate that into the brand somehow. So yeah, there's that. There's also, I think, a really cool, again, it's just these opportunities. There's a little bit of a potential opportunity for to set up a co-working space here where we live. So I'm actually finding it, because I work from home, right? And I'm starting to find it harder and harder to work from home. I don't know why. I used to love it, but I'm starting to really kind of struggle with it. And I think I'm just gonna set up a cool space that's branded like the same as the agency, and bring some other creatives and stuff into that space, and see if we can make something cool and run workshops and talks and with local businesses in our area, and try and create a bit of a kind of like what you have, I suppose, a bit of a community, but just nice and casual and organically in our community. So I haven't actually shared that idea with anyone yet, but yeah, that's a reality that I would like to make happen in the next 12 months.
Nice. That's cool. Now, where can our community members find you, your work? How can they connect with you if they've got any questions for you? Maybe we've got some designers who've got the chops and might want to be able to be helpful to you as well in your journey to grow and bring in new folks to help you. Where can they find you, connect? Let us know.
Yeah, so Navco.Agency is our website, and also Instagram, if you just Navco.Agency, and just message me. And I think I've made it pretty clear on this call. I'll talk to anyone and everyone. And you feel free to email hello@Navco.Agency. I think another area that I kind of want to get into is sort of like what you're doing, is helping people, set themselves up, and, maybe like a little bit of coaching and stuff like that. So yeah, if anybody needs any help in that direction, always open for emails if anybody has any questions. And yeah, likewise, if anybody thinks that they might have something to offer, or would like to jump on board for a project and trial something out, just link me your portfolio, and happy to have a chat. And yeah.
Hey friends, thanks for watching and or listening. If you want to be a part of these conversations and get more resources, assets, and networking, join us in the Creative Crew. It's my free community that helps web design agencies and creative studios succeed and grow together. Join us. The link is in the description down below or in the show notes. Would love to see you there. Until next time, we'll see you in another one.